after elections. Daniel Ndembede with more on this story.
Every 5 years, Kenyans participate in election to elect leaders for various political positions. Kenyans went to the 7th multi-party democracy polls in August 9th, this being the third election under the 2020 Constitution and under the Reconstitution Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. The election was also the third after the disgraced 2007-2008 post-election violence. The great American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once observed that peace cannot be attained through violence, it can only be attained through understanding. Yet in current Kenya, peace is not an option and should prevail at all times through laying down of foundations that ensure that people such as the youth are sensitized to keep peace by ensuring that their action, speech and conduct does not cause mayhem in the country. Robert Owino Odera, the Executive Director at Community Initiative Support Services in conjunction with other community-based organizations in Nyanza and Western, says that community members involve themselves in awareness creation about the need for peace before and after the elections.
We have successfully intervened to reduce the amount of violence, particularly the election violence that has been noted or has been arising, particularly in this area. I would like to congratulate the Kenyan population for coming out and for voting peacefully. As we have realized and as we have seen, the 2022 general elections were carried out peacefully. However, there has been a challenge.
Although the election was generally peaceful, it faced a challenge in the presidential race, which Robert is optimistic will be resolved and that Kenyans will continue maintaining law and order.
Having involved ourselves over a period of time in various elections in Kenya, we have noted an improvement, one, in observance of the law, two, in improvement of the systems, and three, in the belief of an electoral system as a nation.
For Eunice Owino, a trader in Kisumu, this election will remain etched in her mind because she was threatened that her property will be burned by arson. Reason being, she supported an independent candidate whose policies impressed her.
There were some threats which were given to me specifically. These were coming because I was a supporter of an independent candidate. That some people came to me threatening me that they will burn my house, they will burn my business because I'm a business lady in Mamboleo shopping center. They said they are going to burn my business premises. They were coming even to burn my compound. I was not very happy. I had to report this all. Though it has not been like that. So I don't know why this time it was all that bad for me. It forced me, due to all these threats, it forced me to close down my business.
Eunice observes that the use of youth to cause mayhem and violence is heartbreaking, and it is time that the youth realize that there is not much to be gained in violence and that politicians whom they fight for will abandon them once they are elected.
It is a very bad habit. Let our youths not be used. Youths, you should just work on what you are supposed to work on. Let nobody use you, because if you are used by a politician, after that or the day after that, you will remain alone. In case something happens bad or you hata kama umeshikwa, you will go alone. That politician will not go with you.
Eunice and Robert note that for violence to be fully addressed, it will need youth to be involved in empowerment exercises, including events that are meant to sensitize about creating peace.
It is our youth to refuse being used by these politicians, because unless you as a youth, you refuse, is when no one will not use you. But if you accept that, they will continue using you, but they will not use you in a good way. They will misuse you. And in such cases, if you see, assume that they have taken you to go and bring chaos in somebody's business, or you go and loot it. What if a policeman gets you he or she will shoot you. Who will be the loser? Not the politician, you yourself.
For Nelson Juma, a boda rider in sprawling within Kondele in Kisumu, the low-level chaos that was witnessed in the area was as a result of high level of awareness among the riders, with many of them now wanting to keep away from violence.
Sisi kama vijana tumekuwa tukitumiwa vibaya tangu siku za jadi, kwamba kila wakati kunapokuwa na visanga kama hivyo, sisi ndio tunawekwa kama mistari mbele. Tumekuja tukajikusanya, tukajiita mikutano, tukaona kwamba tumekuwa tukitumiwa vibaya, tunauana, tunaharibiana mali zetu, na baada ya siku hakuna fidia ambayo tunapewa. Tuliamua mara hii kazi yetu ilikuwa ni kupiga kura na tulimaliza. Ushindi ulitokea. Yule ambaye hakuridhishwa na ushindi anajua cha kufanya, na sisi hatutaingilia hapo. Chenye tumengoja tusikia kwamba ni nani anapishwa kama rais wa 5 wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, na huyo ndiye tutakayefuata. Tuko tayari kusimama na yeye.
The issue of use of internet, however, remains thorny. According to Robert, many people use the internet to spread ethnic hate, and there is need for the concerned authorities to take necessary action to deal with the issue.
There is increased tribal hatred or expression of tribal hatred amongst our people, particularly on the social media. And I would like to urge us that internet, or the spectrum upon which internet connectivity is based, is a public property, is a public good. And we need to operate or have cyber hygiene, where one, we review what we say, what is the effect it has on the other people, and not rely on the anonymity of our keyboards or where you are, but the effect comes later on.
Internet is a game changer for everything, because I'm trying to look at using even gadgets. I can talk about exams. People never used to go to exams with calculators. Yeah? Then it came, people could go to exams with calculators. Then we had the mobile phone. People can go to, I think even currently, even there are some schools which you take your phone, you leave it there, you can always access it, the teacher can always give you, because some of these things, technology is inevitable. Technology is part and parcel of our everyday life. And I'm not even just linking it to even election, and I'm looking at it in terms of communication. You can look at it during the pandemics, particularly if you look at the COVID pandemic, we look at the curfews, we look at the lockdowns, yeah, where there are restrictions in movement. Yeah. Actually, the digital platform became an advantage because people could always bring out their stories. The young people can bring out stories on what is happening in their background. In case there is a success stories, in case of police brutality.
But what needs to be done so that there can be lasting peace in the country?
Because it cannot be a construct that is only expressed publicly. If somebody is not living in peace with himself or herself, if someone is not appreciating peace in their home, it is difficult for them to express that peace externally. That's one. Two, as you have observed rightly, we have this way of engaging where we have a lot of peace messaging just before election. But peace just be for the election. If it is a value that we have ingrained in our daily operations and in our way of thinking, then we need not even preach about peace before election. These are some things that, one, we need to work and incorporate even in the curriculum of our education system, so that it is something that is discussed, that one, we can have different opinions, and two, there are systems of addressing them, and those systems need to be fair, because there's always the question of preaching peace, but what about fairness or justice? And if we all agree that these are systems that we need to work on, then it is a long-term project. Peace is not an activity.
When all is said and done, Robert reiterates that
I would like to urge us that we are on a journey of democratization. Kenya is still a young nation if you look at the scheme of things in the long term, and we are building systems. Let us all look at the long-term benefit of whatever electioneering process we are having. There is good and there is bad, but the good far outweighs the bad. As a nation, we are all here, and we'll all be here long before even these leaders leave us. And therefore, let us not ban, let us not change the course of our destiny and nation because of temporal interests of leaders.